Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre's voice is living on from the grave. There is a new memoir that is getting all the buzz, and that memoir implicates a former prime minister of Israel. This is big news, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how the Trump administration is going to deal with this in particular, but I do want to remind you that there are three people right now in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Ro Khanna, and Thomas Massie, that are continuing to fight for the Epstein victims. The rest of Congress is very silent, and I think you're about to see why. Let's go ahead and get into it. This memoir has a lot of people talking, ladies and gentlemen. Jeffrey Epstein, survivor, was sexually assaulted by a well-known prime minister. Again, this is what her new memoir is revealing. According to the memoir, Virginia Giuffre met the prime minister on Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands in 2002 when she was 18. So keep in mind, again, Virginia Giuffre, the first time that she was basically trafficked, she was underage at that point in time. Virginia Giuffre is no longer alive. They reported that she took her own life. I told you then, and I stand by it, I don't believe that is the case. I think this woman was killed. I really do. She came forward and she revealed a lot of information, so they saw her as a problem. And so I feel like it was handled. I don't think that she did this herself, and neither does her family. Let's get into this, ladies and gents. Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent victims, has alleged in her memoir that a well-known prime minister brutally beat and assaulted her. We're on YouTube, so we got to be careful with the words that we use here, folks. It was an attack so savage, it pushed her to escape Epstein's sex trafficking network. In her memoir, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice, Virginia referred to her abuser as only as the prime minister, saying she feared he would seek to hurt her if she named him. In past court filings, she had accused former Israeli Prime Minister Barak of sexually assaulting her, an allegation he has repeatedly denied. Well, yeah, he's not going to come forward and say, yeah, that was me. You know what I mean? According to the memoir, she met the prime minister on Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands in 2002 when she was 18. She was instructed to accompany him to a cabana where the situation quickly turned violent. This gets a little graphic here, so we're going to try to do the best that we can. She goes on to say that he choked her until she lost consciousness, and he took pleasure in seeing her fear for her life. Horrifically, the prime minister laughed when he hurt me, and he got more aroused when I begged him to stop. She ended up leaving the cabana, and it goes on to say, I mean, you can see this here for yourself, but it goes on to say that she was bleeding from various parts of her body after that assault. She said he sexually assaulted her more savagely than anyone had before. She pleaded with Epstein not to send her back. I got down on my knees and pleaded with him. I don't know if Epstein feared the man or if he owed him a favor, but he wouldn't make any promises, saying coldly of the politician's brutality. You'll get that sometimes. So let's pause here for a second. These are sick people. These are really sick people. But what this tells you, ladies and gents, is that the reason why you are not seeing that release of those Epstein files is not just because it includes powerful people or billionaires, people that have vast amounts of wealth, and could also implicate some politicians too in the United States, I believe. That's not the only reason. The other reason is because it would implicate Israel, which is something that Whitney Webb has been pointing out over years. If you get a chance, read Whitney Webb's books, One Nation Under Blackmail, where she went through all of this, all of these people that were part of this Epstein network of sorts. People who she believes have been blackmailed by Epstein, who we all know was an agent for the Mossad. These are sick people. I do also want to remind you that CBS itself reported years ago that Israel has become a haven for child sex offenders. that they are moving to Israel because they are protected there. This is the country that the U.S. has an allyship with. This is the country that the U.S. says that is America first. This is who they say they got to protect at all costs. So regardless of what political affiliation you have, everybody should have a problem with this. If you care about the children, which a lot of people said that they did, you shouldn't let this go. People should not stop talking about those Epstein victims and how these people are being protected, and in particular, a former prime minister of Israel. Let's continue on. Despite her pleas, Epstein later sent her back to the same man aboard his private jet, the Lolita Express. The second encounter was less violent, but Virginia said she lived in fear he would attack her again. I didn't know it then, but my second interaction with the prime minister was the beginning of the end for me. Afterwards, she stopped recruiting girls for Epstein, something he had previously forced her to do. After the attack, I couldn't stay a fool. Having been treated so brutally and then seeing Epstein's callous reaction to how terrorized I felt, I had to accept that Epstein meted out praise merely as a manipulation to keep me subservient. Epstein cared only about Epstein. That summer, Virginia said Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell did ask her to bear their child, offering her wealth, homes, and nannies, but only if she gave up all legal rights to the baby. Terrified the child would be groomed for trafficking, she began planning her escape. So again, these people are sick. And this is the person that people were like, oh, well, Trump should pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. They even wanted her to have a baby for them. And I believe she's right. I think they would have had that child be a part of a traffic ring. Absolutely unbelievable. She soon fled Epstein's circle, but was haunted for life by the greedy, cruel look on the prime minister's face as he watched me beg for my life. Her memoir was written before her death. That's what we're going to call it, her death, in April at the age of 41. And it was going to be published next week. So from what I understand, the BBC already got like a little handle on the memoir. They got a sneak peek before it is released. That's why we know about this now. But I just want to remind you guys, like, also, this is not just about Barack. This is not just about the former prime minister. This is also about the protection of Prince Andrew. I want to take you back to what Virginia said about Prince Andrew, and just a reminder for you so that you understand now why today Prince Andrew is relinquishing his royal titles. Let's go ahead and show this clip here.
It was a really scary time in my life. I had just been abused by a member of a royal family. I didn't know what could happen. And I couldn't comprehend how on the highest levels of the government and powerful people were allowing this to happen, not only allowing it to happen, but participating in it.
Virginia Giuffre gave the BBC a detailed account of the first time she says she met Prince Andrew in London in 2001, the night she says this photo was taken at the home of Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell.
Again, this is a child. She was a child. And we've seen this photo go around multiple times. And the police did confront Prince Andrew after she came forward, but ultimately they didn't arrest Prince Andrew. He's not in jail because he's a prince. A stain on the UK. From what I understand, this was an issue with Prince Andrew for a long time. Virginia wasn't the first from what I've read. Prince Andrew had been known to go around looking for underage girls. And I believe the royal family knew about it. I believe they knew.
But I knew I had to keep him happy because that's what Jeffrey and Ghislaine would expect from me.
Giuffre says she was instructed to have sexual encounters with the prince 3 times when she was 17. The night in London, she says, was the first. It's the same story she told Savannah.
Prince Andrew, of course, denies that this ever happened.
He denies that it ever happened, and he's going to keep denying that it ever happened. But he knows the truth, and I know the truth.
I have no recollection of ever meeting her.
In his widely criticized interview with the BBC, the Queen's second son denied ever having sex with Giuffre and said he couldn't explain the photo.
No. Let me just rephrase this. He denied, he just said there he had no recognition. Excuse me, can't talk today. He didn't remember even meeting her. But that photo has been going around on the internet for years. And he has this conversation, goes, I don't remember meeting her. You're in the picture with her. So the royal family, you guys got a problem here. This should have been addressed a long time ago. Charles, you need to say something about your son. They have been protecting him. I really feel like the royal family has been providing cover for Prince Andrew, that they have offered him some type of protection. Prince Andrew should have been thrown under the bus a long time ago.
That's me, but whether that's my hand or whether that's the position, I have simply no recollection of a photograph ever being taken.
The people on the inside are going to keep coming up with these ridiculous excuses, like the photo was doctored, or he came to New York to break up with Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, come on. I'm calling BS on this, because that's what it is.
Prince Andrew admits he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, inviting him and Ghislaine Maxwell to Ascot, to the Queen's country estate, and to Windsor for his daughter Beatrice's 18th birthday party. His disastrous BBC interview led to him stepping down from royal duties. Prince Charles reportedly pushed for that, the 71-year-old future king taking on a bigger role inside the royal family.
Well, I think transition is the buzzword behind Palace Gates. There is a sense that him and his staff are preparing for the next stage.
In response to the BBC's program, Buckingham Palace again emphatically denied the Duke of York had any form of sexual contact or relationship with Giuffre, and did not see, witness, or suspect any behavior.
This is what I mean about running cover for him. They have been running cover for Prince Andrew and protecting him. Prince Andrew should be in jail. This is just the reality. But this is all about money and power, folks, about how powerful people get away with these types of actions. But meanwhile, you have the National Guard. Pay attention to what's happening in the United States. You got the National Guard going around the U.S., arresting working class people, but all the powerful people getting away. We cannot continue to allow ourselves to be distracted, because the reality is this. All of this, all the pressure with ICE, all of these incidents with the National Guard here in the United States that's happening, this is all a distraction. And what Donald Trump, the Trump administration is doing is they're like, look at me, I'm going after the bad guys. Look at me getting these criminals out on the street. No, you're not, because you're not going after the people who are in power, who are bad guys. That's all a distraction. And what's sad is that people are actually falling for it. If Donald Trump was serious about tackling crime, he would start at the top, because they're the ones that have the power. They're the ones that usually get away with it. But he's not going to, because it would implicate him, his friends. These are his buddies. Epstein was his friend. Donald Trump rolled around in these same circles with a lot of these powerful people. He's protecting his friends, and he's protecting his friends in Israel. Because the reality is, if Donald Trump were to come down on the former prime minister of Israel, Barak, then people would say, why are we have a relationship with this country? And this is what they are doing. Why do we have a relationship with Israel and they're protecting child sex offenders in Israel? Why are we working with these people? So you see, that's why I say I'm waiting to see what the response is going to be about this. People already, even on the right, are having criticisms of Israel and starting to question if our money should go there. Speaking out against genocide as well. Now you add this as the cherry on top. There's just no way you can excuse it. So you cannot sit up here and say, I'm going after these criminals here. Look at all these bad guys. These bad people we're taking down here in the US. But you're not taking down anybody in power that is basically the head of the snake. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say you care about the children, protect these children, which a lot of people were saying under the Biden administration. You can't say, I care about these children, protect these children, but you protecting the people who are hurting the children. These crimes have not stopped just because Epstein is dead.
Led to Epstein's arrest. Giuffre's interview was taped before the prince's sit down.
This is not some sordid sex story. This is a story of being trafficked. This is a story of abuse. And this is a story of your guys' royalty.
And there's that infamous photo right there. So, as I said before, Prince Andrew, he has quite a bit to show you here about Prince Andrew, because there was something else that he did. The Guardian reported on this. Prince Andrew tried to hire internet trolls to hassle Virginia Giuffre. This is also in the memoir. So do you see what he was doing behind the scenes? Prince Andrew's team tried to hire internet trolls to hassle his accuser, Virginia Giuffre, while he hid behind the well-guarded gates of the Balmoral Castle to avoid being served court papers. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Virginia wrote of the 2022 confidentiality settlement of her sexual abuse civil claim against the royal, widely rumored to be 12 million, 9 million pounds, that her lawyers were going to ask for the moon, and her team had agreed to it. Her team had agreed it had to be more than mere money. After casting doubt on my credibility for so long, Prince Andrew's team had even gone so far as to try to hire internet trolls to hassle me. The Duke of York owed me a meaningful apology as well. We will never get a confession, of course. That's what settlements are designed to avoid. But we were trying for the next best thing, a general acknowledgement of what I'd been through. Prince Andrew has now relinquished his royal titles because of all of this.
Sex abuse case focusing on Britain's Prince Andrew. He says he will no longer use his royal titles as new allegations emerge from the memoir of the late Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre. Holly Williams is in London for us following all this. Holly, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. This is the latest humiliation for Prince Andrew, who'd already been forced to step down as a so-called working royal and stop using the title Royal Highness. It's also an exercise in damage control by the royal family.
Andrew will still be a prince, but he'll no longer use the title Duke of York, an honour given to him by his mother, the late Queen. In a statement, he said continued accusations distract from the work of the royal family, though he still denies the allegations against him. He was reportedly pressured into the move by his brother, King Charles, and nephew, Prince William. The latest scandal came in the form of a leaked email, apparently written from Prince Andrew to Jeffrey Epstein in 2011, just after this photo emerged of Andrew with one of Epstein's victims.
Pause here for a second. Here's another problem we need to point out about this picture. Why was this grown man hanging out with this underage girl? She was underage in this picture. Why was this grown man hanging out with this underage girl and has his arm around this girl? Prince Andrew should, and this is the thing. This is why I do not believe that the royal family didn't know that he was doing this thing. I don't think that, I think the Queen knew. I think King Charles knew. I think they all knew that Prince Andrew was out here messing with underage girls. I think they knew. So I think they have something to say for this as well. I think they knew. And I think that they just kind of, is one of those things, oh, let's just keep it kind of hush. Had no reason to be hanging out with this underage girl. What do you have in common with her?
Virginia Giuffre, who claimed she was forced to have sex with the prince. Andrew reportedly wrote, "We are in this together," and "play some more soon."
But it would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend.
Yet in this infamous interview with the BBC, Andrew claimed he'd ended his relationship with the convicted sex offender well before that.
I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact.
Virginia Giuffre took her own life earlier this year, but her memoir comes out tomorrow, in which she describes Prince Andrew as, quote, entitled, as if having sex with me was his birthright.
I believe all of that. I believe all of that, what she said there in her memoir. Yeah, entitled. We are going to make a correction here. Like I said, I believe that she was killed. I believe that she was killed. This woman was crying out for help. And she did all the right things that we tell people to do. That if you are a victim, to come forward, to report it. She did that, as did the other, Epstein victims. And then look at the way that she was treated after doing so. This is why, and I say this as well, because, this isn't just about Virginia Giuffre. There are a number of people that are against what Epstein did and support Virginia Giuffre. And now some of those same people are trying to make the case for Andrew Cuomo. People are letting their parties, their partisan feelings get in the way. Andrew Cuomo was accused by over 12 women. He has multiple lawsuits against himself. He shouldn't even be allowed to run for mayor of New York City, in my opinion. But you have some of those same people. Check your friends, guys. Check your friends. Some of those same people who are saying release the Epstein files, justice for the Epstein victims, don't seem to want justice for the victims of Andrew Cuomo. We have to end it with this. Virginia Giuffre's own words cut through the noise. In her memoir released today, Nobody's Girl, she said of this photograph, "I'm caught in the foreground, clearly by accident. I'm 17 years old. And right next to me is Maxwell. Later, a fellow survivor told me this photograph was the reason she broke her silence. The photo said something 1,000 words couldn't. Everyone knew that was a child." She's talking about this photo right here. Here's Ghislaine Maxwell circled here. There's Naomi Campbell. I don't know who this guy is. All of these adults. That's a child. That's Virginia Giuffre. Why are all of these adults hanging out with an underage kid? That's not normal. And we have to, and here's another thing I want to say here. We have to make sure that that never becomes normalized. These grown ass people should have never been hanging out with a child. And I don't understand how everybody there at this party has no problem with this. Naomi Campbell, we looking at you too. Whitney Webb revealed some things about you in one of her articles as well, and your relationship with all of this. So this makes no sense for no one to look around and say, why is there a child with all these grown ass people and grown men? We can never allow that to be normalized. And everybody needs to make sure they speak out against things like that. That in itself is a no-no. Even if nothing happened to her at that event, she should have never been there. A child should have never been there, period. This memoir is very telling. So although Virginia Giuffre has died, her voice still lives on through that memoir. And we have some truly evil people in this world. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.